I mean, I felt like I had been like so independent and like on these roles and like going on, and I'm like, and he was just like a red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. But he was like, you know, an actor, a con artist. I don't know, like everything.
Ooh, a con artist sounds hot.
It sounds great until like they kind of like make you feel bullshit.
What's up, everyone? Welcome into Hey Babe, Can We Talk? With me, your host and bestie, Drea Renee. If this is your first time here, welcome. This is the place where the hot mess expresses the black sheeps of love. And for those who just can't seem to get it right when it comes to matters of the heart, I am you, you are me, we are one. And if nobody else gets you, I do. I am a relationship survivor, and you guys have done everything wrong. So let me help you do it right. And if you're returning, I missed you. And we're gonna have a great episode. On today's episode, you guys, we have the amazing Renaissance woman, actress, comedian, Kye Kinder here in the house. Today, we're gonna be talking about, are you the red flag? Take a look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, are you the red flag? And if you guys can go ahead down below and comment, make sure you guys share this episode with all of your friends because I love to hear from you guys. So we're gonna get into it with my girl, Kye Kinder. Yeah. Kye, I'm so happy to see you. You are finally on Hey Babe, Can We Talk? We've been talking about this for a long time.
I know. Tell me about it. I am so excited to be here. I can't even contain myself because I've never been on a podcast.
I know. I'm breaking your podcast cherry.
I know. And that's what I've been seeing because I've been watching all your episodes and they're a lot of fun.
You guys, make sure you are watching and comment down below. I want to hear from you guys. Please, 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 please. So Kye, what have you been doing? What have you been up to? Give us the scoop. You do all the things. Actress, comedian, you're in real estate now.
Real estate has been taking a priority these days.
Okay.
I'm at Compass in Beverly Hills, little promo. And I'm with the Roland team and it's awesome. I am just, working my butt off and trying to go.
Yeah. Okay. And while you're working your butt off, how is this going with your dating life? Because right now I feel like a lot of women are focused on their career, not so much focused on dating. And a lot of people are single, not really mingling, doing the career thing. How is that going for you?
Hey, I am working a lot on myself, but I'm still totally dating.
You are dating. Are you on the apps?
Yeah, I'm on apps.
How's it going?
I like them. A lot of girls hate.
Like the apps? Said no one ever.
I mean, I don't like the fact that like there's all these, and now it's gotten into, apps when we started a long time ago. Well,
it wasn't a long time ago, Hillary. That was only about,
okay, like it was 5 years ago.
Ah!
Okay. Yeah. So when I started then, but everyone's a hater on it. And I think you just have to like know what you're looking for. I think a lot of people just say hi or like talk to people and they don't know what they want. And I've gotten to the point where I think I know what I want.
What do you want, Kye? What does Kye want?
Well, I want someone a little bit opposite than what I am. And I think you kind of know what I am in the sense of I need someone to balance me, someone to like ground me. And I've always like kind of, fun and exciting guys, which were probably, it was like, ooh, that's so much fun. And my mom was always like, well,
the ones who like stimulate you and it's very intense.
Yes, but I was also like a person that like loved, I love to get to know people. And the thing is, people fascinate me. I like hearing their stories. I like to hear what they're up to.
Yeah.
And so kind of like dating to me was kind of like, I want to know about this person.
Yeah.
But I figure out people pretty fast, and then I realize really quickly if it's going to work or not.
How soon? How soon for you?
Well, I mean, in my like when I was younger, like 5 years ago,
Love it. Yeah, 5 years ago we were in our 20s. Thank you.
And I also think I wanted to know more about different types of people. So I was always kind of exploring all my options.
Right.
Like grass could be greener on the other side.
That's a big
Maybe
thing
I was
right
a
now.
better dealer, but I think that comes from kind of a lack of trust that I have with my, even trust issues probably.
But you're thinking that comes from yourself. So,
yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's you. And that's what we're talking about today. Are you the red flag? And I think a lot of people have to take a step back if you're having many relationships back to back to back where they aren't working out. You kind of got to look at yourself and ask yourself, what am I doing? What are my patterns? Why do I keep attracting the broken birds, right?
Yes, and I think that's a very good point. I think a lot of people are always trying to find someone either to still complete them.
I know, that's such a big thing. But Hillary, Kye, Kye. I'm doing it.
Yeah,
I'm doing it, Kye. I got
Hillary Kye Kinder's my full name.
I know.
And we've
We're
known
going
each
Kye.
other for a long time. Like, she's one of my
long.
bestie friends, and I miss her so
Kye,
much.
I've known you for a long time. You were my first friend in Los Angeles. I mean,
No,
you go.
we were like, I
Yeah.
mean, and you remember I took you the wrong address.
I will never forget that in my life.
And I was like, I'm outside waiting
Kye,
for you.
Literally, you told me you were 828 Martel.
No, it was, yeah, it was 828. Yeah, you're right.
Something
You're right.
like that.
And I'm
And
like
you kept
still
telling
giving you
me
the
that
wrong
it
one.
was 824. So this is my first time meeting Kye, and we're on the phone with each other, and she's going, it's 824. It's 824. And I'm like, Kye, I'm literally outside. She's like, I'm outside. I'm like, I'm outside. And then I look down the street and I'm like, Kye. She's like, oh, sorry, it's 828.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of our friendship.
And I was like outside in a towel, and I was like, hey.
That's right.
I was like, you can't miss me. And
Literally, that was the foundation of
and
our
I was like,
friendship.
come on in. I'm in 4 or 8. You'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out. Exactly. And I did.
So, yeah, I think that, I still have some of that in me today, but I think that I'm learning like a lot quicker. I'm a late bloomer, like I am really cool with being by myself, as you know. Like, I love to be around other people, but I'm not like a relationship obsessed person.
Right.
And so,
you've never really been, actually. It's always been me that was obsessed with like wanting to be with someone. But yeah, it's something you didn't want to be in a relationship, but it wasn't your main focus.
Well, I was kind of a serial dater in the sense that I was like, I'm trying to figure myself out.
Yeah.
And so how am I supposed to like find the guys that I want if I don't know who I am yet, And I'm kind of like,
But don't you think that is a life journey?
Oh, yeah,
I have a friend of mine, she's married, and she said when she met her husband, she doesn't necessarily think they were both these full pieces coming together. I mean, they did the best they could, but ultimately, are we whole? Is there a perfect place to be?
No, there isn't. And I think that that's another thing that we need to reassess, because a lot of times I thought I need to be perfect in order to have a perfect person.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm not attracting them. That's a red flag within myself. No one's perfect.
No one is
these
perfect.
things. So why am I trying to be perfect? And then I go out there and I'm like, yeah, he's real perfect.
Exactly. You need to be unapologetically who you are. Be as weird as you want to be. Be as weird as you want to be. And then you meet your weirdo.
And that's very important. I think people...
Sure.
Sorry to cut you off on that one.
Oh, no,
but
you're
I
good.
feel strongly on that, because I think a lot of times people are chameleons. They kind of bring in their own, like they like adapt to that person. And
You
they
heard
make
my
up that
surfing
person.
story when I was surfing, and like
I think I
shouldn't have
was
been
there in Malibu or
Probably.
nearby.
Probably.
And I was like,
I do not need to be
Drea
anywhere near
doesn't
the water.
like. Drea doesn't swim that often. She's surfing.
Just say it. Drea can't swim. Just say
No,
it.
no,
Just keep it
no,
on
no.
there.
You swim
Fine.
fine because
I do not swim fine.
No, I saw you in Malibu all the way in a rock with
Kye, oh my God, you were there for that.
yeah, I was. And I was like,
I still have a bruise from that day. And it's a reminder that I should never have a cocktail ever again in my life. I have a bruise. Remember that was his name Luke?
we were there with like a lot of different people. And all
You
of a
brought
sudden,
me to that party.
hey, I can't say I have perfect friends, but they're fun.
No, I had a great time. And remember the guy I was dating at the time? We will not say his name, but the guy I was dating at the time, it was like our second date, and he came there, and then I was in the shower, and then it was a mess.
No, and all of a sudden, I'm out on a deck, and everyone's like, your friend's out there swimming with this other dude out to a rock.
So I was chasing that guy, who I found out later was gay. He was not even straight. And then I had a date coming that I forgot about because I was a little intoxicated. And that was, this is why I have this podcast, because I was so out of my mind.
And I was just there like, hey, boys, what's going on?
And I'm like, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me?
And so I think that I was a late bloomer to it. So I was always trying to figure out who I was.
Yeah.
And so
we were just two hot mess expresses.
And I was trying to figure
walking
out
around.
me. And I think that so many times that people enter relationships without knowing who they are or knowing what they bring to the table. And yet we have this like list of all the perfect things that we want about someone, but
Right.
yet we're bringing none of that to it. Or we don't even know if that's really what we want.
Well, I think it's so easy to have all these ideas, right?
Yeah.
And then when you meet someone that sparks you and brings you the butterflies, and you start feeling like you love them and you like them and you're connected and you have this chemistry, the ideas of compatibility, not for everyone, right? If you've done the work, you can slow it down. But if you haven't done the work, you get caught up in limerence, you get caught up in the butterflies, you get caught up in the chemistry, and you don't think about, is this person going to bring me partnership? Is this person going to be a life partner? Can we life together? You're like, this guy has a big hoo-ha, and that's all I think about. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I kind of know that in the sense that now one of my things is that when I'm too excited about them, I'm like, there's a problem.
But is that
because it's saying it's normally something in me that I'm like seeing about them, and I'm like, ooh, I think that might be my problem.
So is that one of your red flags for yourself? Is if you start to feel that you're getting too excited about someone,
and they're too excited about me, because I'm like, I don't trust that.
God dang it.
I wish I did, but I just don't. I'm like, you're full of shit. And if I hear things like that, I'm like, right.
Kye, you are very much like that. And I can see the exact face that you would make.
And I'm always like rolling my eyes like I am now, or like doing some weird expression on my face. And I'm like, that doesn't sound good.
But is that, I feel like it's so sad that if we're getting excited about someone, then everybody steps back. We're like, this is not good. This is not good.
And especially for me, because I get easily bored of people like...
Kye, you absolutely get easily bored.
I mean, like, if they're not like bringing something to the table of like conversation-wise, I don't want to talk about where you're getting your like nails done or what's going on with your face routine or what's going on with like, I don't know, just like your self-improvement and blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, let's talk about some real stuff. I hate like...
Kye, you can go deep too.
And I like getting in, like, when people don't bring nothing to the table, it's kind of just like, why am I talking to them?
And then what I love about you is you're very honest about that.
And I tell them that.
I know.
And sometimes it gets me friends and sometimes it doesn't.
I always tell people when they meet you, Kye has an acquired taste. She's an acquired taste. You're either going to love her or you're going to be like, what is happening right now?
And I like don't have time for those people that I think that are just boring. You know, like when they bring nothing to the table, I'm just like, okay, well, cool, we can talk about this. And I don't need to just chit and chat. You know, like I like to have my moments of just getting things out.
Yeah.
But I don't need to be like, so how's the weather? What's going on? Are you going to this party? Like, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, okay. Well.
But this is why I said before, I was like, I wish you could give someone a flashcard with all your strengths and weaknesses on like a first or second date and be like, this is what I'm about. Read it. Well, let me know what you think. And if you don't like it, give me my card back.
You know, I've actually gotten like really into that lately because I just like ask them, point out, I'm like, so do you want this? Because I do. And do you want this?
Straight to the point.
And then I'm like, how do you feel about this morally? How do you feel like about, because if something like.
First or second date, Kye?
First date, I don't have time to like fuck around, you know? Like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. But I don't have time for, you know, like the one thing about being a late bloomer in life and not having been married or have kids,
right,
is that I've really gotten to know myself.
But that is one of the benefits. I mean, think about if we would have gotten married when we met each other.
Well, I mean, like
I was to the beach at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning. You know what I mean? If we would have gotten married at that time, I would have been the worst wife.
I would have been
ever.
divorced like 2 times.
2 times.
And I think a lot of times people get in these relationships and they don't know who they are and they get married really young or they get married to like complete them because they're scared or they don't know who they are.
Or their families are telling them they're supposed to get married.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully my parents didn't do that because, you know, they have kind of an unusual background.
Parents are awesome.
Well, they got divorced. And then they got back together.
I know, but I love that story.
Yeah, I mean, and my
mom,
mom
get away from me, come back, get away from me, get over here.
And then their like marriage and family therapist is my mom. So like being analyzed by that's definitely something.
So what do you think some of your red flags are for yourself when you're showing up and things that you've seen where you're like, ooh, this is about me? Because like for me, I realized some of mine were like, ooh, Drea gets attached very quickly. So let's pull back. So that's something that I watch when I'm looking at how I'm texting someone, how I'm speaking to someone. Another red flag for myself is I can overshare sometimes. I'm like, I'm going to be mysterious. And the next thing I know, second date, I'm like, when I was 7, my dad, and I'm like, Drea, stop.
Which I think is really refreshing about you.
Oh, thank you.
Because I loved hearing that story. I'm like, you told them what? And you're like, yeah, I just did it. And I was like, and then you're like, then I told him this. And I was like, okay, you're going into it. And I was like, I mean, there's been a couple of times where I'm just like,
This is what I said in my very first episode is I have friends who go, why did you tell him that? And I said, I'm just trying to be me. I just want to be honest and expose myself.
Your thing was, this is what you'd be like, I just want them to know how I feel about it. I think I'm like, okay, you're really telling them how you feel about it directly. And I don't want to I don't want any secrets.
Yeah.
You're always like, I have truth. I'm just going to tell them. And I'm like, you're going to run with that. You're leading with that?
You're leading with that. They're like, how about we just go a little mysterious?
But I've done that too.
I know.
And I've been like, really? I said that? Wow. God.
Right.
Okay. And so I
what do you think your red flags are?
I think that I love to hear people's stories so much. So when I get to first meet them, I do get really excited.
Okay.
And then I'm like, and then they're telling me these exciting things, and I'm like, ooh, I've never thought about that. They're stimulating my mind.
Okay.
And so I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And then by the second time we talk, I'm like, not very stimulated.
So you're saying you getting bored fast?
Yeah, me getting bored. But no, but my mom told me recently, she was like, your brother's not exactly the most fun person, but he is, he's perfect, and is like the perfect man.
But we had this conversation.
Yeah. But the thing is that, so I'm always like, maybe boring is fun. That's what I'm going to now. I'm like, maybe I need to like someone not like me. Because two me's don't make a right.
And two me's don't make a right. Kye, if there were two Kyes together, I think there would be...
there would be a lot of issues.
I
don't think they would be able to cross the street. They wouldn't be able to function. I barely function as is sometimes.
Right. So you're saying you need to go to someone who's completely opposite of you and go boring. I hate the word boring, but just... not stimulating your nervous system every 5 seconds.
Yeah, and I was told that, and I was so depressed about when I heard that. I was like, wow, this is a bummer.
But if you think about people that are married, a lot of times, not all the time.
The other people are, one's boring.
One's a little chill.
And you're like, and I need the chill one because I definitely need someone to make sure that I'm grounded.
Because we're not chill.
We're not chill people.
We're not chill people.
No. Chill is not in our vocabulary.
I don't even know what that means.
But sometimes...
I'm like, Chile, what is this?
But ironically, I will have people meet me and they're like, you're so calm and laid back.
Who says that, Kye?
I'm not. Hey, I got people. And I'm telling you, they're like, wow, you're so laid back. And I'm like, you don't know me at all.
They don't know you.
They don't know me at all. They just like, you're easygoing, da-da-da-da. I'm like, I'm easygoing in that because I don't care about that, but get me on something I care about, then I'm going to be like, something's going to happen.
But what do you feel about yourself where the things that were this is what I got to watch out for? I know you said you got to watch out if you get easily excited, but what are some other red flags where you can, you've looked at these things?
I think when we click too fast is a red flag.
Okay.
Because I think that
it should be a slow burn.
And I think I'm a person that responds to that stimulation, that stimuli of that going on. And so when a guy's like, I really like you. And I've had that happen. They're like, I'm like, do you? Because you don't really know me. And all of a sudden they're like, but I do know you. Right. And I'm like, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
And and then people like to pretend, people, a lot of times if you're outgoing or you're friendly, they think they know you. A lot of people think they know me, but they don't really kind of know me. And so they're always like, but I know you. You're really, if you're easygoing.
Well, if you're having those connecting moments and conversations, I think a lot of times. But I can connect with anyone. But that's what I'm saying. Not a lot of people always connect with each other. So when you're in these deep conversations, especially with the opposite sex, you're on a date, they're going to feel like that means something.
And then you get a little in trouble because they're thinking you're flirting, or they think that they've met the life partner of their dreams.
Right.
And it's just kind of also you want to be a pleaser. Or an entertainer.
Is that something you feel like is a red flag for you, being a pleaser? Because are you a pleaser?
I actually am. I do. I like people to like me for the most part.
Okay. Because I feel like ultimately you don't give a shit.
I might say that.
Okay, but inside,
inside I'm crying. No, I don't. I give a shit to a point, but I care to a point, but I definitely try, as I've gotten older, I've really accepted kind of who I am and what I'm up to.
Yeah.
And so now I'm just like, well, they kind of suck.
Can you tell us a time in a relationship where you saw something that in yourself that you've seen multiple times in a relationship, you're like, this is something I need to work on?
I think that I have it takes me a long time for me to like someone. So I think once I like someone, I like them. And then when it's something bad going on in the relationship, I stay too long.
So that's something you've seen in patterns.
Yes. And that I wish I could. But one thing I can do once I decide that I'm over this person, I'm like, goodbye.
Okay.
So I'm like, no,
I'm the opposite. I decide I'm over them, and then I stay for 4 years.
Well, I think I'm friends with a lot of my exes, and a lot of people find that hard to believe. And I'm like, no, I don't like them. But because I've had,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I don't want to just get rid of a friendship.
Okay, that's a great topic to talk about, which is staying friends with your exes, because that's part of like our red flag, green flag. But a lot of people are like, if you stay friends with your exes, that's a red flag for a relationship, right? Well, because I know for me, I am definitely friends with some of my exes, not all of them, but I'm pretty cordial with most. If I saw most of them, I'm not going to throw fire on them, except for like one. But for the most part, I'm very friendly.
Yeah, I totally think that.
Not everyday friends.
Yeah, you don't have to be like text. I mean, like it's good to like have, reach out or hang out with them every once in a while. And I've like become friends with their like wives and their girlfriends. Like I'm not, trying to crouch up on
what?
them. Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you're a responsible adult, you can still be friends with people because I like. Because also, I think an important part of a relationship is building a friendship.
Absolutely, but I don't
so
need
if you have a good
with
friendship,
their wives.
No, I'm not like hanging out.
You're going for tea and coffee?
No. Like, but if I they're like, hey, come over for dinner or like do something. Yeah, I've done that. And I like, yeah. I mean, I can.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I've really grown.
Very
up.
progressive. I love that.
But at the same time, it's they're still interesting people. I don't like to just be friends with. Have a friend list to check.
Yeah.
You know me. I don't like you or have time. I just kind of move on and I'm not being an asshole about that. But like, it's like. It's hard to, at this time in our lives, it's hard to keep a lot of relationships in that sense that, and especially, so keep the important ones and like the ones that are near. And I don't know where I was going with that, but
I love you.
I was going somewhere. So keep me on track. You're the one that knows what you're doing, okay?
I definitely
I'm just here.
You on track. I definitely have to keep you on track. Okay, so staying too long in a relationship, possibly pleasing too much. And
turning into a chameleon.
The chameleon thing is so
because I'm
real.
like really good at that.
Me too.
And I'm like,
what you like?
I'm like, ooh, but it's not me trying to like their stuff necessarily, but I adapt to their behavior. Because I'm like, oh, that's an interesting way of looking at it, and I get into their way of thinking, and then they're like, I love you, and you're like, well, that's just like me kind of like.
Right.
And it's like, I'm empathetic and intuitive in that sense. So I think that a lot of times that I can pick up what they're kind of feeling.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, and if you're like good at conversations, then it's going to be easy.
Right. And the thing is, when you like someone, I just feel like, love is a hell of a drug. And so when you like somebody, all of a sudden you were doing all kinds of crazy things that you thought you would never do in your life. Because you're like, oh, you want to try that? Okay, well, I love you, so let's give it a go. And so I think we have all of our boundaries of what we want. And then once our hearts open and we are on that track of loving someone and experiencing them, something I have to watch out for is taking my life and just going to whatever their life is doing. Right?
Yeah,
and
I
not
don't do
losing
that.
my life and not losing my routine and not losing my things because, I don't need to go to that party because so-and-so wants to hang out. I don't need to answer this phone call because I'm with so-and-so right now. Like watching all of that behavior, which I've definitely gotten better at, but in the past, I don't even know where my phone is.
Yeah, and I can be like that too.
I'm like, phone?
But I've only had like 3 real relationships in my life, so.
Why do you think that is?
Well, maybe more than that. But, I mean... some solid ones, probably about 4. I've had a lot of relationships, don't get me wrong.
Okay.
But
good for you.
I think I'm a serial dater, but not one because I'm so into dating or something, but I'm generally curious about people. But as I've gotten older, now I'm like, I can figure out if I'm going to be curious out for them, like within the 5 minutes of us talking.
Right.
So, and yeah.
So what advice would you give to people that are going and seeing the same guy, getting in these broken patterns, trying to fix someone, and they can't look at themselves? Like, what advice would you give to them?
Well, I would never be doing any of those things because in the sense that's just kind of not my style on the sense.
But I know, but if you're giving advice to someone in that situation.
Like that means that they really need to work on themselves.
Yeah.
If they're doing that, and I'm not trying to be a jerk about that, but that just tells me that they haven't kind of developed who they are as a person. And I know it's so cliche and everyone says it, and I'm sick of hearing it too.
I'm so sick of hearing it.
I'm so sick of hearing it. And it's true to an extent.
It is true though, because if you can't be by yourself, truly.
You can't give someone a cup of water if you don't have a cup of water.
Yeah.
Okay? Right?
I love you so much.
You can't give someone money if you don't have money.
That's true.
And so I learned this recently because, different things are happening financially with me. So anyways, but I've learned that I always was like a helper or a pleaser on some of these things. And then you're like, well, what can I give? Because if I can't give certain things. So if you don't have something to give to someone and you're giving them a cup of something that you're already borrowing from yourself.
Exactly.
How are you going to fill that?
Right.
And so I think that if you really don't have that to give, you can't give that to someone. Like you can't give love to someone if you don't have that. And I know I hate the word love too, because it's so.
Why do you hate the word love, Kye?
I love the word love, but I'm saying that it's a hard word. It's something that I think about all the time. Like love, I'm like, what does it mean? What does it say? Where's it going? And I'm like, and then you're like thinking about, do I really love that person? Or do I kind of like,
it does
and then you go through the
older.
family of people and then you go different. I'm like, I think I love them. I say I love them. Well, I'm not really a touchy-feely person.
No, you're not.
So, and me saying love is like, I love you. Like it really, or I'm like really drunk or something's happening or I'm on something, I don't know. Anyways, and I'm like, oh, I love you. When you see that coming out of me, just like glaring it, you know that there's because I'm like a patter, not a big hugger. And so sometimes when people give me like too big of hugs, I'm always, my friends.
Kye, I've done that to you many. All right, that's enough.
And I'm like, I don't know what's up with me with that. I've got to get over that. I need to go in therapy about that because that's an issue. And
has that shown up in your relationships?
Oh yeah,
affection?
So maybe that's my red flag. Like, and guys, and then I'm always kind of a smart ass, so guys don't always like that.
Is that something you think is a defense mechanism with yourself?
I think if you're like a funny person or you've, been not a funny, but you've had issues or things are going on, you're gonna use humor or you're gonna use other things as a humor brings you together because it's the truth. Yeah. But it also has a wall outside.
It keeps you a little bit separate because you don't have to get towards your emotions.
And you're giving them enough personal stuff, and you're making it kind of truthfully like it's gonna be. Oh, wow.
Right.
At the same time, but it's also like giving them that. So they're like, I am getting to know her. And then you're like, no, you're not.
So maybe you're a little guarded, Kye.
I'm very guarded. So, that's probably, I've been working on opening myself up.
It's so scary, though, when you were really met with someone who's like, Kye, I'm going to show up for you. I love you. And that, you're like,
and I'm like running.
You're gone.
No, those are the things that
you're telling a joke while you're running away.
And I'm like, I think you have some problems because so there's some of my red flags. I'm like, this guy is way too good to be true.
He's way too into me.
All the ones that are too into me. And I'm like, really? Am I in high school? This is like a junior school.
That's so interesting. And so, that is for sure internal.
Yeah,
that's you're amazing, Kye.
And then I'm like, and then they're like, I'm complimenting you. And then I hurt everyone's feelings.
Okay. Okay, so now we're getting to the nitty gritty of the red flags.
Yeah, okay, so to the last, one of the person was like, you're just really hurtful.
Kye.
And I was like, I am not hurtful.
You're brutally honest though, Kye.
But I was like, he was asking for the truth, and he's,
Did you put padding around the truth?
Okay.
Okay,
so they can basically break down me brutally, but I can't break them down brutally.
Okay, I got you.
You know what I mean? So he could tell me, and he's like, it's not personal. But he was giving me some business advice about stuff and how to work on something, and I was like, wow. And then he's like, well, that hurt my feelings. And I was like, why is and they're like, maybe you need to be a little nicer. And I'm like, I care. I'm the most empathetic person ever.
Right.
And then they're and I feel like when they start projecting that, I'm like, you have some problems with yourself.
Okay.
You know, or you know, I need to tone it down. I know.
Okay.
I admit I can
Are
be
you meaning personality wise, or just how you're showing up emotionally in a relationship?
showing up emotionally. Probably on that, what we were talking about, maybe I don't need to be a smart ass all the time.
Okay.
Maybe that's not working for me.
Maybe that's not working for you, Kye.
But I can't give it up because that's kind of who I am.
It's
and then
kind of who you
when they
are.
start being dumb, I'm like, or they're not being the smartest. And I'm not
so you
the
need
smartest.
a smart, boring guy. That's not true, Kye.
No,
You're
no,
very
like
smart.
they need to be really smart or really funny.
Or
And that's
both.
what I'm. Well,
Both.
normally, funny people are smart.
Yes, exactly. Yes, funny
So,
people have to be.
They have to
really
be like
smart.
ahead of the curve. I think.
Dave
So,
Chappelle.
I mean,
so smart.
Oh my God! Don't even get me started. There's so many,
I love
like,
him.
comedian writers, comedians and writers. Oh my God.
Okay, so it sounds like you have a good idea of what your red flags are. What are
Yeah.
some of the things you do to keep working on yourself as you are dating, you're on the apps, doing the thing?
Well, I mean, I always try to like see if I'm doing like if there's patterns.
Yeah.
Right away. I know that sounds so, but
No,
like
I mean-
right away, like with if you're going on a couple dates and like the same pattern keeps going on, I'm trying to like go, why am I attracting this? Even though I've gotten a lot better at selecting them and getting rid of them. Because my friends are like, oh, I went out with this person and this person. I'm like, why would you go out with that person? Did you read that much about them? And now everyone thinks I'm fake online.
Kye, what are you talking about?
No, I mean like on the dating apps, they're like, are you real? And I'm like, yeah. And I've been on some good ones and some bad ones.
Oh.
You know? And I've been on like the
Are you on all the classics, the Hinge, the
well,
Tinder,
I'm not on
Bumble?
Hinge. No, I'm
You're
not on Tinder.
Hinge?
No. Well,
Thought everyone
I've
was
been
on
on Hinge, and I mean,
I've been
I think
unhinged.
I mean, I've been on Bumble. That whole thing kind of
Raya.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was that, and then like the League, and like
Oh, yes, the League, right.
and I'm like, ooh, and fancy people. And so, but at the same time, I like dating in LA. Everyone gives it
Whoa,
shit.
whoa, pause. I want you to look right into this camera and say that.
I like dating in LA.
Said no one ever.
I know everyone gives it shit, but I think it's that they don't know what they're looking for and they don't know what they want. No, I really think that. It's kind of an experiment.
Experiment, that is correct. Experiment.
Yeah. Well, but I think but that's part of it. Like I kind of like learning the learning process of it.
I love that. We're gonna coin that.
Experience.
It
Yeah.
was an experience.
But I mean, for the most part, all the guys I've gone out with are pretty cool.
You know what? I will say, Kye, you have had some pretty good luck. I mean, except for
there's
the
one.
one you told me.
Yeah,
that was very bad luck.
And I was like, what's going on? Like, I was so good until
But
like
how long were you with that guy?
a year and a half or 2 years.
We entertained for a bit.
Yeah,
And that was a rough one.
And I was like, whoa, where was I?
Where was I? You come out of it and you're
And you're
thinking to
like, and
yourself,
then I'm
like,
talking to, and my mom's like, and I'm like, what? I mean, I felt like I had been like so independent and like on these roles and like going on, and I'm like, and he was just like a red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag.
You know, listen.
But he was like, an actor, a con artist. I don't know, like everything.
Ooh, a con artist sounds hot.
It
Sign
sounds
me up.
great until like they kind of like make you feel, and they're full of shit.
And you don't know that they're a con artist because if they are a good con artist
Or a good actor.
you don't know.
And they're charming and they have all those things and they don't tell you the truth about
God,
things.
some of them are so good.
And the thing
so
is
good.
I knew it at the beginning because I would always ask these questions and my mom was like, you were onto it. And then I was like, what got me was my friends were like, maybe it's you.
No.
Like, maybe you need to stop asking so many questions or like, cause I'm like a detective. Like I'm
We
like,
both have that thing.
and I'm
I
like,
will
so-
ask you 85 questions.
And he'd always be like, why does that matter? He'd gaslight me. He'd be like, why does that matter? I mean,
Classic.
can't you just be like, and why none of my other friends ask me these questions?
You're like, well, I'm not your other friend. I'm your
Exactly.
girlfriend.
And I'm like, what are you doing for this? And what are you doing for, these are,
where are
and
you
they're
going?
like,
Why? Who's there? How long? Tell me everything.
or like, what are you doing with your life? Just, those.
That's a pretty good question, Kye.
And they're like, I'm doing this and this. And they're like, doesn't seem like it.
But you know what? And then this is where we go, okay, Kye, okay, Drea,
Yeah.
why are we staying in this?
And then it's like, you're like, this is going to be really hard to break up.
Because you start to feel that feeling when you're in something and you're like, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to end this soon. Because I used to say this thing where I would say, I'm going to disengage while engaged because I hated breaking up. I hated it. So I would start to like not text as much. The texts got shorter. Maybe we weren't hanging out as much. And I started to sort of try to prep myself for the breakup.
Get yourself emotionally ready.
While I'm in the relationship. But then I just never left. And then I'm like, what am I doing here? And then finally there would have to be some sort of explosion. Because there is this term now called conscious uncoupling. And I had some friends do it. They were together for a very long time. And they went to a therapist to have their breakup. It was a very beautiful, very mature thing. And they're
very
still
LA.
friends. Very LA.
That's an LA thing.
Conscious uncoupling.
I like to bring that back to Texas.
Oh, girl. They'd be like, girl, what are you talking about? They just broke
want
up.
to tell you that I wanted to break up, blah, blah, blah. So I decided to do this thing.
Called conscious uncoupling.
And they'd be like, okay, honey, whatever.
They're like, so it's over.
And they're like, and you spend money for that? No, I was investing in myself.
But
in
honestly,
the non-existent relationship. But no, I get that.
It really is such a beautiful thing if you can find someone
if
who
you
kind
can do
of
that. And if
works on that.
I mean, if it is a relationship that has been, but if it's a bad relationship, yeah, I think that's a good thing.
Because I mean, otherwise you're left with these two people, especially when you have two people who both know that it's over. You both know it's over. You go out to eat. You're both on your phones, looking at this other person, going, "I don't want to be with them anymore." But we have so much. We have friendships together. Our parents met. We have a house together. Whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean,
and
all those
don't
financial
separate.
things coming into those things, and
This is
that
what
gets
I'm
a lot
saying.
more complicated.
Exactly.
And that's a mature way of doing it. And it is. I just wish I was
that
mature.
has to be, you have to have two mature people
to do that. I don't know if I'm ready to partake in that.
And I love that awareness, though.
So
then we just stay until it explodes.
And that's, kind of where you're like, this is not working. You got to go now.
Exactly.
And you got to leave. And then you kind of just need to and then, you kind of ask yourself those questions, and then you write kind of like, okay, I saw some red flags in myself. And why was I attracted to this?
See them in the beginning. I mean, some of them are so clear as day, and then some of them are a little subtle, and you kind of look later and you're like, ooh,
but
that
they tell
thing was
you.
Weird. They always tell you.
They always tell you.
you.
My mother always goes, listen to them. They will tell you
Especially
everything
when
they
they
want
talk
on
about
the
their
first and second and third date. If they say they don't want a long-term relationship, they don't want a long-term relationship. They say they don't want kids, they don't want kids. They say they don't want this thing, so don't think because they're going to tell you exactly what you want. And one of the things that I've really gotten from people, I'm like, okay, yeah. And then recently, I went out with this guy, and I thought he was really fun, really smart, really different from me. And I thought oh, I'm going to give this a chance. And then we disagreed on some things that were
major things.
And he was like, it's not that big a deal. You can make an 80-20 rule, And I was like, no. There's no 80-20 on this one.
Right.
He's like, because it's also you're telling me you don't care about part of my intelligence or something. He didn't say it like that. But in my eyes, he was like, this is a subject that's different. But I was like, it was a subject that, we don't really have to, it's not a big deal. But to me, it was.
So you knew later that would turn into something else big.
And that night, I was like, it's not going to work. And that, at dinner, I was like,
this is not
sorry.
the guy.
I was like, and then trying to be nice and
But that's the thing, and then in that moment,
and then he
over.
was like, I should have never said those things, and I was like, but I'm glad you did. So now it's over with.
You know, exactly.
And so I want that to be when I'm on dates, I'm like, so is this, because these are things that I can't change about how I feel, and if you feel, I'm not saying that you can't compromise and find But
right.
if they can't even talk about certain things or they don't express themselves, those are my list. And if that can't happen, then I'm like, I got to move on.
You got to move on.
And that's what I'm
That's
trying
what
to
it
do.
is.
So I think I have a lot of red flags, but I'm working on my red flags.
You are working on your red flags. And speaking of red flag, we're going to play a little game.
Oh, God.
Red flag, green flag. When you answer, you have to say red flag, green flag for the people listening. So you can't just raise a flag because not everybody's going to be watching.
Okay,
they should, though, for the visual experience.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. And you look amazing. So please, guys, watch. And also, guys, make sure you're commenting below, please. Thank you. Okay. So red flag, green flag. First one. They still text their ex regularly, but they say we're just friends. Why? Kye, you have to say red flag.
Oh, sorry. Red flag, guys. Oops, delayed reaction. Because to me, like, even though I say that you can be friends with your ex and you might be able to still, you can text and call, but if they're doing it all the time, no.
Okay.
That's just not good.
Has children.
I mean, that's fine. Green flag, sorry, delayed reaction. I'm thinking in my head. I got to really think about these things. Green flag, because at a certain age, people do have kids. And it shows you like their kids, it shows a lot about them and the way they parent. And if they have a good relationship with their ex, the green flag goes up. It's hard to date people with kids, but I think if they're working on themselves and they have a good relationship with their last partner or partners.
Okay.
It's not partners. And then they don't have more than like 1 or 2 kids, then okay.
Okay. They've never been in a long-term relationship before and they're in their 30s, late 30s.
That is definitely a red flag.
Okay.
Even though I think that maybe I might fall in that category too sometimes.
But this is what this show is about.
Yeah.
Red flags. Okay. They're obsessed with astrology and won't date you if your signs are compatible. I would never do something like that.
Oh my God. Okay, that's going to be a red flag for me because I do it. That's my job, not theirs.
Exactly.
And so that's a red flag. And if they're into astrology, for them, I don't know.
I get it.
I'm still like a girly. I'm girly but tomboy. But the thing is, if they're into astrology more than I am, then
ooh, good point. Yeah, I don't need all that.
Although my brother went through a stage of being into astrology. And it was
Did he really? I can't imagine that, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. They want to split the bill on the first date.
Red flag.
Oh,
no, because I think if you're going out of your way to meet someone that is asked out for like a romantic night, I'm still, I'm from South Texas.
we're from Texas.
And
better
so,
pay for that bill.
I mean, not unless you're feeling that maybe he can't maybe afford it, or
ooh, then
you're
why
going
are we on the
crazy.
date?
And well, I'm just saying I'm trying to be like equal in the
Stay
sense of like
honest.
if he's having hard times, hopefully I'm not dating that now.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
I'm not, I'm not judging.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, I guess it depends. But for the most part, if they're not paying for me, I'm going to be pissed off.
Okay. I love that. They're super
And I'm
close.
going to have a couple of cocktails.
Okay. They're super close with their mom and she still does their laundry.
Oh, that's a red flag. Never.
Never. They ask you to meet their friends on the third date.
I think that's a green flag.
Yeah.
Because, I love meeting their friends. That just tells me about who they are. You see if they are hanging out with dorks or weirdos and
I love
or
it.
cool people. I don't know.
Okay.
I think that's good.
And the last one is they can only tell you their feelings if they've had a couple cocktails.
That's a red flag.
I feel like that's pretty common. Not saying all men, but I feel like that's kind of common.
Well, I think it's hard for sometimes guys talk about their feelings, but I say that's a red flag because I'm normally that way too. I need a couple cocktails before I'm like, I love
That's
you.
why I asked that one.
And I'm like, I think and it's not just going to come out of me like being deadpan sober.
Yeah.
Like, at a coffee thing, like, hey, or having like boba tea or something. That's not going to be like, so I just want to tell you, man, I love you.
Oh my God, I love you. You're so funny.
I love you.
Kye, thank you so much for being here.
for
You were amazing. Thank you for just being honest and vulnerable. You were amazing.
I know.
Thank
and you
you.
popped my cherry. So
I
now I
did.
know what it's like to be on podcast.
And I will always be your first.
And guys, I'm not just going to be like, because I felt like, and I was like, I'm moving too much. I don't know.
You're
I have leather
fine.
pants on. I'm trying
Other
to be
pants
cool.
are fine. You are cool, Kye.
Duh.
Okay.
But, okay. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I love
Thank you
you.
for having me. Mwah! Love you.
All right, guys, thank you so much. As always, thank you for lending me your ear. And don't forget, this is the place for the hot mess expresses and the black sheeps of love. Until next time, I'm Drea Renee, and this is Hey Babe, Can We Talk? See you next time. Bye.